split check, contract, on the arm, do they supply, do they not supply, straight pay, extra hour, per diem. Today we're going to be talking about the different ways rig welders get paid, and I'll define some of the lingo, that way you know exactly what you're agreeing to when you go to hire out. If you are a new or future rig welder and you don't know anybody to get into this industry, I've got the community just for you. Stay tuned, because at the end of this video I'm going to share an invite with you that you won't want to miss. If you're new, or if you haven't already, make sure and subscribe and ring the bell to get notified when I post a new video every Friday. If you don't know me, I'm Austin Ross, and I like to share tips and tricks for rig welders and pipeliners here on this channel. So there are two main ways that rig welders get paid: contract or straight pay, and split check. Contract or straight pay is mostly for mobile rig welders and some oil field welders. Essentially, you work for yourself. You carry your own health insurance if you choose to, liability insurance, and you get paid an agreed upon hourly wage. This is usually anywhere from $50 to $100 an hour, depending on where you're at in the United States, what type of work you're doing, and things like that. Essentially, you can get paid whatever you want. You can charge whatever you want. You work for yourself, and it all boils down to what exactly you're specializing in, what kind of value you're offering, so on and so on. But that's an average pay for oil field work. Depending on the type of work, some jobs might also pay per diem. With contract pay, it's usually just an extra hour for your drive time, or an extra 2 hours for drive and your living situation or whatever, but they call it per diem. Question of the day: how do you like to get paid? Do you like to be the company owner, or do you like to be the employee? Let me know in the comments below. Split check is what most pipeline welders get paid. It's divided up into arm pay, rig pay, and a daily per diem. On average, you can expect to get paid, I'm going to say $40 to $55 an hour on the arm, with overtime after 40 hours a week. This is your pay for your trade or skill. That's why they call it arm pay. You can expect anywhere from $15 to $18 an hour on the rig, straight time, meaning no overtime on the rig. They're essentially renting your truck and all the tools on it. And on the per diem, you can expect anywhere from $100 a day to $200 a day, depending on whether you're working union, non-union. On some non-union jobs, they'll offer 7 days a week per diem, which means if you're just working 6/10s, you're still getting per diem for that 7th day. But sometimes it's only the days you work. So you'll want to clarify that whenever you hire in with a non-union contractor. You want to clarify, is it 6 days per diem, is it 7 days per diem, or is it just the days I work that I get per diem? There's no written agreement or anything like that. As to where in the union, I'm not entirely sure, because I'm still new to the union. I don't know if they have a set 6-day a week per diem, but one thing I have noticed being in the union, they normally, on every job I've been on so far, you will show up to the job almost every day, at least 6 days a week. Like if it's been raining a lot, they're still going to have you show up to the yard every morning, so you get show up time, so therefore you get per diem for that day also. As compared to non-union jobs I was on, sometimes I would get a phone call before I ever left the camper saying no work, so if you didn't show up, sometimes they got away with paying you no per diem. So I'm not sure on the fine print in the union, but I know that you're there to work and you're there to get paid. So no matter what the weather's doing and whatnot, chances are, unless it's 12 foot of snow and you literally can't get to the yard, chances are you're going to show up 6 days a week, if not 7, if you're working 7 days a week. But this is definitely something that you want to get clear when hiring in with any contractor, especially if you're starting out non-union. Make sure you're clear on what the status is on per diem before you hire in, before you even leave the house to go to the job. So to wrap it up, let's talk about the expenses versus the pay for each one. So split check for pipeliners, you got to pay for your travel, your food, some insurance, rig or health insurance, depending on your personal preference and whether you're union or non-union. Maintenance on your truck, your welding machine, and all your tools. You normally got to pay for fuel. Some jobs they supply fuel for your machine, some jobs they supply fuel for your truck and machine on non-union jobs. It just depends on the job. If you're curious about some of the difference between non-union and union, I've made a video talking about some of the differences from my experience so far. We'll put a link in the description in case you want to go check that out. And then the last one for split check is your lodging. You got to pay for your lodging. Obviously you're getting a per diem, but you still have to choose whether you want to live in a hotel, camper, apartment, whatever it is. You still got to pay for your lodging. Notice I didn't mention any kind of consumables for split check. On most split check jobs, they supply everything. Welding rod, all your consumables, grinding disc, bottles, anything that's consumable plus some. And some pipeline companies will even pay for some maintenance on your truck if it was something that happened on the right-of-way or stuff like that. It just depends on the contractor. The same also goes for the union. The union has more to stand on because they have written agreements and stuff, but you definitely want to do everything in your power to keep your truck safe, because not all contractors are going to pay for a boo-boo, if you will. As far as contract pay goes, or straight pay for pipeline welders, you have all the expenses that I listed above for split check, but you also usually have to carry some kind of liability insurance. This usually varies anywhere from $400 a year to $1,200, depending on what kind of add-ons you have. You also got to carry your own health insurance if you so choose. And another big one is consumables. On most contract jobs, they give you an hourly rate, and it's usually higher than what split check is. A lot of that is because you got to pay for your own consumables. Welding rod, like I just mentioned, grinding disc, any tools, grinders, anything that you have, your torch, your bottles, you got to supply all that when you're working straight contract. Whenever I first started pipelining, I was doing some contract work, but I also got into split check work. If I left home heading towards a split check job, I would still bring my own personal bottles that I owned or rented. This way I would have my own bottles if the split check job got over with, but I heard of a contract job, I would have my own bottles. I wouldn't have to go purchase some more or rent some more bottles around the town that I was in or going to for the contract job. Nowadays, since I'm in the union, I only get paid split check, so I still have a habit to carry my own bottles, but I'm slowly trying to get out of that habit because it's just more to carry around, and half the time, past several jobs I've been on, I get to the campground I'm going to, and I have to unload my bottles at the camper or leave them at the yard. I've almost forgot them a couple of times, and I never use them. The only thing that sucks about not carrying your own bottles is you feel lost, and if something were to ever happen, I don't like not having bottles on my truck to work on something if something breaks while I'm going down the road. But that's a whole different topic. So that's the difference between split check and contract pay. I hope it was helpful. Before you go, make sure and like this video if you liked it. Drop your answer to the question of the day. Do you like to be the company owner or the company employee? Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one. And if you want to get notified when I post a new video, make sure and ding that bell. My advice for this week is join my inner circle. If you don't know what the inner circle is, think of it like a networking tool or a mastermind. Or you can go to my website and read more about it for the sake of this video getting too long. But we created it out of a need that I had whenever I first got started, and a need that I know many of you also have. Needing a way to build a strong network without knowing anybody, and a way to stay in contact with those same people. We've put the link in the description below. We wouldn't have created it if we didn't think there was a need for it. Go check it out. That's all I have for this week. I hope to see you in the inner circle. If you do join, drop me a message so I can say hi. If not, I'll see you here, same time next week. Remember, learn something every day. Thanks for watching.